We ready to go?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can get
sweet.
started.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, November 3rd, 2025. Happy November. This is AMCC's National 30-minute call. Same time every Monday, 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central, 9:30 Mountain, 8:30 Pacific. I'm Matt Bogosian, Executive Director of AMCC, the nation's manufacturing community of practice. And David Van Sicklen is back from a big trip. He's our Operations Director, and it's great to have you back, David. This 30-minute call is a roundtable call, one that's been happening every Monday at this time for years at the beginning of every week to check in on current events, best practices related to strengthening the cornerstone of the American project, producing priority products Americans need in key industries: defense, energy, transportation, ag, IT, and health. Those outcomes just don't happen, of course. They need all of you and us, public, private, nonprofit stakeholders working together bottom up to strengthen the ecosystem of support in regions using the best data and know-how we have. As you know very well, unless you're new, if you're new, welcome. These calls are super informal. Sometimes we have short presentations like we had last week from Nell about reshoring. Today's 30-minute call is the other flavor of calls that we have, which are roundtable calls where people not only introduce themselves and what part of the manufacturing ecosystem of support they work in, but they can also, share a best practice, an event that's going on that's going to add value in their region, a challenge that they need help in confronting, piece of evidence that all of us should take note of, whatever that makes sense towards strengthening the manufacturing cornerstone. Before we get started on that, and as potential talking points when we go around the room today, I want to hit on a few items in the AMCC update newsletter that goes out at the end of every week. It went out on last Saturday, and it has some good stuff in there. One thing I was kind of bringing to the fore is this Hampton Roads, Virginia playbook. Very cool. They had their launch event last year. Focused on that region's work, in the two parts that we talk about on this call for years, or, how should the region focus on one, what priority products they ought to be producing, and two, how they strengthen the big six elements of their manufacturing ecosystem of support to produce those products in a way that lifts companies in their region, the workers that work there, the communities in that region, and the American project. So anyway, it was very cool. They brought together hundreds and hundreds of public, private, nonprofit stakeholders, to get buy-in and to go forward to implement projects in their region using really, strong data analytics, mapping, strategic planning. So anyway, there's a hyperlink in the AMCC update there. And that's, would be a very cool thing to check out. Another item in the AMCC update was just about the importance of metrics and mapping. And our senior advisor, Nikhil Calafil, who was at this big event of fancy policymakers and economists last week. Anyway, he got recognized for his skill in using maps to communicate complex data. That's tricky, right? We need more, strategic action and being able to communicate complex data with maps is like an important activity. So that was pretty cool to see that in action. And then we had a couple of times, there's this NSF microelectronics workforce node RFP. That's a lot of lingo, but the feds, are, pushing out this request for proposals, which aligns, it actually calls for collaboration with the communities of practice in the RFP. So I'd be interested to learn, who might be going for that around the country. And if you or the networks doing that need help from us or others to make strong proposals, that could be a talking point. So anyway, that just throwing out some items there. And let's go around the room a little bit. This is a roundtable call. So let's see. Ben McLaughlin from the state of Maryland. I see you there, sir. You're at the state government level. Are you guys looking at this? Tell people where you are, and then we can go to a little convo here. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. I handle manufacturing programs for Maryland for our Chief Economic Development Organization, which is the Department of Commerce. We're an executive branch agency reporting to the governor. And so I handle grant programs, loan programs connected to manufacturing throughout the state. I also sit on a lot of partner agency boards. We have the Maryland MEP board, which I'm a member of here in the state. RAMP MD, which is the Regional Advanced Manufacturing Partnership of Maryland, which is located up near the Aberdeen Proving Grounds, primarily an Army bio and advanced materials organization. We just recently held our symposium, our annual symposium. We had 110 people show up to that, and very good content on material science, on workforce development, and those sorts of things impacting the work up there. I also sit on the board for the Maryland World Class Consortia, which is our Lean Six Sigma training organization throughout the state. They get state government money to do Lean Six Sigma training. I have a personal desire in that area as I went through the whole training on black belt certification, an MS certified black belt. And then the other board is the Regional Manufacturing Institute of Maryland, which focuses more on advocacy, but because we give money to that board, I also sit on that board as well. So I'm focused on advancing manufacturing throughout the state, and Maryland is set up for more advanced manufacturing. High value, low volume, aerospace, defense, those types of manufacturing industries. So glad to be on this call. I can't make it every week, but happy to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you, Ben, and we'd love to learn more about that state's government's strategic plan, if at all, and all of the ways that the state government leans in. We did a workshop in the state of California about 2 weeks ago, where that state's trying to lean in more to manufacturing. I talked earlier on this call about Virginia, sponsoring their, some regional plans that rolled into that Hampton Roads plan. So no one's got this dialed. We'd love to learn how your state, of course, we talk a lot about Connecticut too, they got a state chief manufacturing officer. So there's a lot of experimentation happening by state governments. And so we like to bring those to the fore where we can. We've done a co-created webinar with the National Governors Association and other national organizations kind of to highlight, the different tactics for, not that state governments are important. They're not the whole ecosystem, right? They're an important structuring ecosystem. So thanks for being a part of AMCC and maybe setting that up for a Monday call, Ben. I think that would be really interesting, something we can work on.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, is anybody in Maryland going after this NSF thing I was talking about earlier? If you know,
I'm not. We've had some partners talking about it, but I've got to kind of get my head around that. So
me
not
too.
sure.
Me too. I was studying it this morning. Going, oh boy, there's a lot here. Yeah. I'm with you there. All right, Matt Fieldman, great, the mighty Matt Fieldman, one of our senior advisors. How you doing, Matt?
I'm good. I'm good. Hi, everybody. Really nice to be back with you with a new hat on. So my latest gig is I'm director of strategic programs and innovation at Tooling U SME. Many of you know Tooling U from the 600 plus online classes that your manufacturers are taking. And I'm doing three things, and I have three calls to action. Would love to tap this network as I'm getting off the ground. So one is around leadership development. So Tooling U has lots of hard science classes, hard skill classes, but we've heard that our companies want to develop plant floor leaders. The famous story, right? The CNC machinist that comes in every day is then said, "Oh, you're really good at machining. Now you can lead people." And those are obviously two different skill sets. So we're going to offer some online classes. Would very much like to partner with the MEPs on the call and others who have curricula already, and see what we can license, see what we can adapt, see what we can frankly steal, and use that together. So that's number one. Number two is, we're known for our online classes, but what else can we do to help the small manufacturer, the 20-person company, the 30-person company? And so can we create a whole portal? And again, we could probably drive a lot of leads to the local MEP or other organizations doing consulting on the ground where the company can say, "Hey, I'd like marketing help, but I want it to be local," or "I'd like marketing help, but I'm okay with it being national." And so, again, offering a whole suite of marketing, finance, HR to the small manufacturer and leveraging what I believe is 4,000 SME clients and trying to get them to think beyond just online classes. So that's number two. And number three is something I'm super excited about. Those of you who know me know I love technology, I love startups, and love bringing, supporting them as they're trying to get their businesses off the ground. And so the thing there is, what can we do to help startups through SMEs? Massive network. So Tooling U, as you may know, was once independent and joined SME about 15 years ago. And that's when the hockey stick really began to grow. And, the organization now had access to all these companies, and it became the online platform it is today. What can we do to leverage Tooling U's assets and SME's assets to help small startups go to the next level? So that could be, it could be manufacturing education, but it could be smart manufacturing, others. And so I don't quite know where we're going to go with that, but if you have really good companies, thank you, David, for putting my email in the chat. And would love to talk on any of those three areas. I'm easy to get in touch with, and again, very much looking to support the whole ecosystem. I've always loved that about SME. It's not about our organization. It's about manufacturing as a whole, and that's where I am now. So thanks, Matt, for the platform, and looking forward to working with everybody.
Oh, for sure. Well, they're lucky to have you, and Tooling U has a great reputation, on so many fronts. So it sounds like a great partnership there, Matt. So glad you're back in action, and congratulations there. So as Matt Fieldman was just modeling, you can raise your hand, or I can just call on folks. To say where they are. Andy Stetner, Century Foundation. Where are you? Remind folks what you guys do. Yeah.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Andy Stetner here at the Century Foundation, one of the founders of AMCC many years ago. Great to see everyone on the call. We had a great call at Larry last week about his work around neurodiversity while manufacturing, and just loved how he took the ecosystem approach and applied it to that problem. And so exciting to see this model grow and expand. And I guess my curious read this week was the New York Times article on four things to look at, for the future for the current status of manufacturing. A lot of debate online about that article, and that was my most interesting article I saw this weekend.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. Yeah, it's there's a lot of content on there about our ecosystem of support and the priority products, and how in many ways we're falling behind, of course, China, which is producing a lot more in many areas. So I should have said at the outset, for those that are new, use the chat, put your contact info or, whatever info into the chat. That we get a lot of feedback about how productive that is, because we only have 30 minutes together every week. So I see many people doing that, but I want to emphasize leaning in. Larry Rothman, I see you have your hand up, sir.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank Andy and Michelle. We had a great conversation about where there's an intersection and collaboration possibility between their foundation and ours, and to learn about what they're doing, and an acknowledgement that this organization has helped us, AMCC, more than we can imagine. We have made more connections that are meaningful than we can possibly imagine. I just really appreciate it and thank you. For those of you who don't know, what we're about is finding meaningful, sustainable employment in manufacturing and technology for people on the autism spectrum, not because it's a good thing, although it is, but because they're really phenomenal workers in the right jobs. So I have put my name in the chat. If you're interested in talking to us, we've got some really good stuff going on, including some very, very focused training programs, and we'd love to talk to you. Thanks.
Yeah, great, Larry. I see in the chat Amanda Hilton from the Institute for Advanced Learning and Research in Danville, which I've been to. That is an impressive facility. Amanda, why don't you introduce yourself?
Good morning. My name is Amanda Hilton. I'm our Vice President for Strategic Initiatives here at the Institute for Advanced Learning and Research in Danville. So we offer a lot of programs. We have 5 different divisions. It's focused on the economic transformation for the region, but we also support nationally some Department of Defense initiatives. The most popular of which that some of you may know is the Accelerated Training and Defense Manufacturing Program, or ATDM. So we offer a 16-week accelerated training program for adult learners transitioning militaries, those who are looking for career changes, in 5 of the most in-demand skills to meet the skills gaps for the submarine industrial base. So we train to CNC, welding, additive manufacturing, non-destructive testing, and quality control inspection. So the students come in with little to no experience. They train for 60.
Are you around tomorrow?
Go ahead, Amanda.
Sorry
I
about
think,
that.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So they train for 16 weeks, and then we partner with over 200 industries across the country and place them in jobs at their completion. We track their retention, we track their training, and then we make sure that the curriculum is designed to meet that industry need and that manufacturing industrial need, as well as looking for the maritime industrial base skill sets and demands as well. So the curriculum is constantly changing as those needs and demands changed. We just recently opened our 100,000 square foot training facility that's dedicated to that. They train 3 shifts per day, 5 days a week. So at scale, we'll be training 800 to 1,000 students per year.
Yeah, it's a totally impressive, Amanda. And tell folks about, I mean, this is like, free, right? For people all around the country. So all these regions, you guys are on the call here. People from your region, can apply and go and they get this free training, right?
Yes, so we have currently trained students from 47 different states, including Guam, Puerto Rico, and Australia. And we have placed them in 38 states around the country with our partners from industry. Right now, everything is fully funded through scholarships through the funded program. So it is free for those students, and that includes the housing when they come here for those 4 months for training. We provide transportation to the students if they don't have it when they come to and from the training. And there's other wraparound support services, including tutoring, sustenance, childcare, if needed, to try to make sure we remove all the barriers that are there that you may have to be able to get that education and get into those careers.
Yeah, very cool, and a great model, big time. So anyway, check it out. Thanks so much for being on this call and participating in AMCC. We have this maritime ecosystem exchange that we've talked about in the past with maritime related regions participating. We have calls on that the 3rd Friday of every month. Many of you might be participating in the Maritime Ecosystem Exchange. So I know you guys are, Amanda. Appreciate that partnership. We got to figure out how to build ships much better. Other folks, you want to introduce or reintroduce yourself wherever you are in the country? I see Stuart there from Oklahoma. Want to say what you do and where you are? Yeah.
Sure. Just wanted to say, obviously congratulations to Matt there. Exciting seeing his face again. Sharon overheard your voice and popped around the corner to get a peek at you there. And we'll definitely be in communication with him. And recently just got back from with a tour with the group of the National Governors Association, actually touring apprenticeship programs in Switzerland. So kind of similar there, to Matt and what we all did there in Germany, and really just a great model. Learned a lot, and definitely hearing a lot, kind of from the national level around, Better Jobs Initiative, and having some, better practices around on the job learning program. So it was a really great tour, made some good connections, and we're hoping to see it really kind of grow some of the training models we have here in Oklahoma. I've mentioned, I think in the past, about our Manufacturing Skills Academy, which is a training center for youth 18 to 24 in machining and employment readiness skills. And we're about 10 weeks into that first cohort, and it's been going really well, seeing a lot of growth in people with their technical skills, as well as just, personality, life skills. People telling me just last week that they paid off all of their tickets with their most recent check they got. So some real responsible usage and things like that. So, that's what it takes, is just small steps with people as they're growing and improving and getting a new career path. So definitely just successes there, and hopefully maybe here before the end of the year we can have a little bit of a presentation for y'all and talk more about some of the achievements here at the MSA.
Great, thanks, Stuart. David McFreeders-Crone.
Hey, thanks very much, Matt. So I know a lot of you are in workforce. My program is actually focused on innovation and bringing technology into the manufacturing. We have a program that's sponsored by Commerce / NIST, working nationally through the MEP program. We've had good results collecting cases from MEP, but we're looking for other people to partner with. So even if you're in workforce, I know that the companies you're working with have needs to figure out ways to get onto their technology roadmap. We're in a position to be able to really help that. I'm also a partner with Roy in his program, and so I want to give a quick shout out to him and actually pass the baton to him to introduce himself.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, this is Roy Dickin. I'm with Strategic Value Plus. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer. And what I'm mainly working on now is building digital twins of manufacturing supply chains, end to end. And we can do it in 24 hours. So people can find out where their bottlenecks are, and they can get on to improving their supply chains. And this can be ongoing improvements if they choose to do so. So that's what we do that's what I primarily function with at Strategic Value Plus. But we do a lot of different things, and we're real happy to have Dave McFeeders-Crone as being part of our group. Very important man. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it.
That's awesome. Thank you both. And Roy, if there's info, and Dave, if there's info that we can elevate through our AMCC update, just send it our way about, that moving fast on digital twins. This is a great tactic. And so how we can operationalize that sooner rather than later, all the best. I see Jack Katofsky from Lawrence Livermore Lab on here. We were at the California Economic Summit 2 weeks ago, Jack, and I think your big boss was there talking about all the innovations at the lab. Very exciting. Like, how do we operationalize the labs in that tech transfer? Is a big theme. I know the state of California as a state government is trying to lean into that. Just like, Ben was talking about in Maryland, what we saw last week in Virginia, right? How do we do that better? Jack, can you come on quickly and introduce yourself and some of the lab activities there?
Thank you, Matt. Yeah, I'm Jack Katofsky at Lawrence Livermore National Lab. We're in Livermore, California. and part of a Department of Energy and our National Nuclear Security Administration portion of DOE. We are leaning heavily into advanced manufacturing, both nationally as well as statewide initiatives, and so was pleased our lab director Kim Budil joined you a couple weeks ago in the Central Valley, and I regret I couldn't make that meeting, but we often have folks joining this call, and we're present at that meeting from our Innovation Partnership Office. That office is our external facing office to engage with business community. We also have Office of Government and External Affairs that regularly interacts with federal and state, local governments. So we are eager to engage with lots of high-tech R&D. We're a $3 billion lab of about 9,000 people. Livermore's just east of Oakland, Berkeley, San Francisco area, and happy to be the point of contact or connect folks to our Innovation Partnership Office to interact as is appropriate. We are eager to take our $3 billion invested in lots of IP that comes out of that to spill it out into the economy for the benefit of the United States beyond the government applications we are normally engaged with.
Thank you, Jack. Thanks for your leadership. And he's not kidding, folks. They are eager, right? And as are many of our national laboratories. And this is one of the challenges. It's a good problem in many ways, right? That we have just the incredible intellectual capacity and innovation. We just have to operationalize it. And so, and that's going to take, building our collaboration muscles across the labs and institutes with the practitioners here. So thanks for leaning
Matt,
in. Yes, sir.
I'll just add that one secret to success I personally find is trying to embed people where we welcome folks onto our site, not just for a day visit, but for example, for faculty doing a sabbatical for a year or students doing their entire degree with us. We welcome that on the corporate side as well. So where we can put either lab staff in a corporate environment or corporate and academic partners, government partners residing with us, those sort of prolonged engagements, I feel, is part of the secret sauce to getting to know each other, getting to know each other's tech, and having enduring and meaningful engagement versus just brief engagement, because that's getting to know the people and the tech is part of the secret to the transfer of IP as well as a lot of the workforce development needs.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, trust is the coin of the realm, and that develops over time with those longer commitments. That's for sure. Hey, we're here at the end of the call. I didn't have the chance to shout out Tracy Inez at Accelerate Mississippi. They have a bunch of activities happening this week. We'll be delighted to be a part of that, as well as Utah. Utah's got this big tech aerospace meetings this week that we're heading out to today. Many cool activities. Please send those activities that you guys have in your regions or in your professional silo to David and I so that we can elevate them here on this call and on the national AMCC update newsletter. And engage with each other, across that. Thanks for using the chat, staying in touch, keeping us focused on the best tools and tactics to produce priority products that America needs. That's it, you guys. We're at the top of the hour. I hope you have a great week and stay safe out there. All right.